Jared and Carrie, and we're here at the venue at the Bridge, and we're here with
Waking Vegas.
And they will be playing here very shortly, and we wanted to talk to them about, you know, their interests, their band, what the kind of things that they look for in writing songs, and you know what they're all about.
When I had talked to Leslie last, we said we were recording right now. You're in the studio.
Yes.
So how is that going?
Fun.
Fun.
Yeah, it's fun. No, I mean it's been great. I mean everything is really just falling together, and the songs are really starting to take shape. I mean we've got 10 songs done, so they've got to be, yeah, they got to be mixed, and then we just got 2 left to record. So.
And where are you recording?
We're recording at a friend of mine.
Friend's house.
My friend's house. No, he's got a great studio that he built years ago, and actually he's not open to the public. He just opens it up to people that he loves and Christian artists. I mean, he doesn't just open up to anybody. So yeah, so it's great.
What's the hardest part about recording?
Finding the time.
Finding the
Yeah, and when you got a full-time job and you do this on the side, yeah, it's the hardest part.
So yeah, I would agree.
But once you get there, it's the hardest part.
For me, this is my first time doing anything like that other than a little rinky-dink thing at Cedar Point back in the day. Oh, I'm aging myself, I'm going to stop that. It's just a whole different sound than being on stage. So having to get used to singing a little bit differently when you're in a studio as opposed to being on stage, because you can hear every little thing. It's once I got into it, it's a little freaky. Yeah, it's because you're all in your head.
Yeah.
But once I got doing it, it was okay. But the pressure too to live up to, you know, to make sure that it's going to sound good. This is like our big recording, and it's got to sound good. And I'm a perfectionist in that, and kind of freak out if things don't go very well.
It's amazing how when you get in the studio and it's like you feel like an ant under this big, you know, lens, you know, and you can feel the burn from that, and it's like everything matters so much more now. You know, it's all heightened, and I mean, how do you guys deal with the pressure associated with that?
Well, I don't personally like the recording studio because of that reason. I'm really insecure with my playing and ability, so it's really hard for me to play, you know, in the studio. But luckily, these guys don't have a problem with it.
Well, and I understand. I mean, it's hard when you get in there and you got to do a part 28 times before you can get it right. But the thing is, you know, live is one thing because it blows by and it's done.
Right.
And, you know, you can take any band on stage live, you know, and be like, wow, they were perfect. There was an awesome show. But if you listen to it 100 times, you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you hit that sour note, or I can't believe the drummer was off on that part. And that's the way it is. So in the studio, that's why you're under the microscope, because people hopefully will listen to it more than once.
Right.
And it's got to be perfect, you know.
And I can appreciate that, you know.
Yeah.
It's just something I have a real struggle with doing.
I think everybody does. You're just the only one that admits it.
Honesty.
Admitting is the first.
Yeah. But the nice thing though is after you do go in the studio once, you know, you get that kind of what you would call it, the jitters off of you for next time at least, you know. So next time when you go in, you know a lot, because the first time it's a huge learning experience. You know, I mean, you go in there and there's a lot of things you don't know. There's a lot of things you don't understand, and it's the first time really hearing yourself. You know, in that way, so it's a little scary. You know, and as a guitar player, I found that too. You know, I think I'm on certain things, and then you put a click to it, and it's like, wow, I'm off.
No, it's progressive rock. It's progressive rock. Odd time changes.
Yeah, your click's broken. Can
exactly.
you do something with that?
The click is wrong.
Yeah, sometimes it's funny too. You know, we'll record a little section of a song, and I'll be recording a section of a song rather, and the engineer that we're working with, or you know, somebody else in the studio there will say, you know, I don't think that's quite right. I think it's off a little bit, and I'll listen to it, and it sounds perfect.
Right. Yeah.
You know, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And you know, I think maybe it might be off by just a little hair, but No, it's fine, it sounds good. So, is it wrong or is it not wrong? It's frustrating to.
Well, there's
to tell
subjective
sometimes.
things. You
Yeah.
know. Now, did you guys write before you went in, or did
Well,
you write
I was
during?
gonna say, for me, it's a little bit of a different experience because I have a home studio and I've recorded several albums. I mean, my first experience in a recording studio was like 12 years old. So I think what's different about this recording for me is, one, I wanted to do this album when we started talking about recording. I wanted to have different ears listening to it. I didn't, you know, I've produced albums myself and done that, but I wanted that, and that's specifically why I went to my friend Kevin, because I know he has a great ear, I know he's got a great studio, and I wanted somebody else to be able to listen to it, to get different input. And I think that's a big thing about going to the studio, that I think a lot of times musicians who go in, a lot of times people will go in with these preconceived notions of, well, hey, I'm here, I'm just going to lay down my thing, I didn't have to practice it, I didn't have to rehearse it, I know what I do, and I'm just going to come in and do it. And then when somebody starts to say, hey, I don't think that that sounded quite right, then all of a sudden they start taking offense. And you got to leave all of that out,
Yeah.
because you got to remember, you're not there to tick each other off, you're not there to point out each other's flaws, you're there to make sure that it goes on, you know, gets recorded. Yeah, that it gets recorded correctly, because I mean, you know, garbage in, garbage out. You know, I'm always a proponent of, you put the best in, and if it's not right, you fix it right now. None of this, hey, we'll fix it later, or do all this stuff. No, we're here right now, let's do it right now. But yeah, I mean, the songs, actually that's why we got 2 songs left to do, because 10 of the songs were already written. But then we wrote 2 more, because one, we knew we had to write, because we did a GoFundMe project, actually to fund the project being done. And so in doing that, we kind of laughingly, we said, well, you know, we'll put out there that, hey, if somebody gives us $1,000, we'll write a song for them, right? We'll just write a song for them, and it'll be an actual song on the album. And somebody bid.
Wow.
Yeah, and gave us $1,000.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, well now we got to write a song. So yeah, so we wrote the song, and it was perfect for the situation that it was. I mean, it's totally different than everything else I think that's on the album, but the whole album's kind of like that. It's not like in one specific genre or just one kind of sound. Each song has its own identity, and I like that. And then the last song that we decided to put on was something actually that we had fiddled with like a couple years ago. It was something we had just messed around with in practice, and all of a sudden I kind of revisited it, and before I knew it was a whole song, and we were all going, no, we have to record this song. This song has to be on the album. So.
That's cool. And you know what's nice about that too, is that energy gets captured, you know, when you record like that, because, you know, there's just something magic that happens when you record a fresh song like that, and you can actually feel the energy when you listen to it. It's like, you know, and that's why a lot of bands actually do write in the studio, and they're already set up to record. I know Dream Theater does that, you know, and because they want that magic captured now, you know, before it ages, you know, and it's nice, and it still has that spontaneous kind of feel to it, you know. So, well, that's cool. So you guys, when do you plan on being done with this?
When we have time. No.
What's the album title? Do you have a title for it?
Not yet. We've kind of fiddled with a couple ideas, and after writing this last song, there were some ideas. We have this kind of superhero motif thing kind of going on. I mean, our logo is kind of like the whole,
In your face.
yeah, boom, pow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, and I'm a huge superhero fan. I mean, I'm a big Superman fan.
Nice.
And we all kind of come from that, you know, kind of thing. We kind of brought Leslie along with us, and if you go to our website, www.wakingvegas.com, you'll see it's the Adventures of Waking Vegas. It's kind of, you know, that
theme to
yeah,
it.
it's kind of got that theme, and so
Cool.
we didn't really have a song that really fit that, but this last song that we put together is called "We Can All Be Heroes," and I didn't even make the connection actually when I was writing the song, you know, between that and what we do. But the song is basically a very evangelistical song in the fact that, you know, there's people hurting, there's people dying, and that don't know Jesus. And being a Superman fan, I was watching Superman Returns not too long ago, and one of my favorite things is he talks about, Superman's talking about how he just kind of hovers above the earth and he just kind of listens to everything that's going on, and you know, like and they always ask who we should save and who we shouldn't and stuff. And he says, you know, some say this world doesn't need a savior, but I hear the voices every day.
Yeah.
I hear the people crying out, and I totally relate that with the spiritual side and with Jesus. That, you know, people say, oh, well, we don't need a savior, we don't need Jesus, we don't need this, but yet the voices are still crying out every day the exact opposite, that they do need a savior. And so you know, I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I don't know if it'll just be a self-titled thing, but it, you know, kind of that last song kind of fits that, you know, motif.
That's cool.